A positive day for the NSC, especially after the elections. Is this a good sign?
I think it's too early to say. The market was up, but on very light trading. I think only about 200 million shares traded today for about valued at about $1 billion or $1.5 billion. So yes, I mean it's up, but not really a trend up given the light volumes.
Why the cautiously optimistic response, Olutosin? I mean, do you think investors have not priced in the potential political risks? And considering that the elections happened without any major incident, isn't it a sign of things to come?
No, absolutely. I think the way the elections have gone, at least on Saturday, was definitely positive. I think some of the results that are coming through have wrong-footed a number of analysts. And essentially, traders are having to go back and think through how they think the presidential and also the gubernatorial elections will play out.
Let's look at company results coming through. Skye Bank's full year 2010 results coming out. Good, but apparently not spectacular.
Well, Skye Bank's numbers have come out. They're much better than the previous year. They earned 78 kobo per share, about 10 billion naira, I beg your pardon, for the profit after tax for the full year. What interests us is more some of the metrics of operational performance. They've grown their loan book strongly, deposits not so much, and so it's from our standpoint, it's a good start to coming out of last year, but we're still waiting and seeing.
What are we likely to see by way of trends going forward for a Skye Bank? You're saying that the loan book has grown, and that's been a challenge for many of the banks, whether they are tier 2 or tier 1 banks. Banks are really not lending. Also, with a reversal or review of universal banking laws, many banks, the shape and the structure is going to change as they embark on whether they are regional or international banks. And so we're also seeing a sell-off of major subsidiaries, which also has a bearing on the balance sheet.
That is correct. Well, what we have seen, at least with some of the numbers that have come out, is that the tier 2 banks, the slightly smaller banks, have actually been able to grow their loan books a lot better, a lot stronger than the top tier banks. So you had, like I said, Skye growing at 20%, FCMB growing their loan book very strongly. I think it comes down to really where the profits for these banks are, and it comes down to the loan book. For a bigger bank, I think you have a bit more time. You have the benefit of your size to get things right, and as such, we're getting slightly different approaches, it seems, from the different types of banks based on their size.
What about results coming through from other sectors? Mobil Oil full year results came through last week. Just your views?
Mobil's numbers were, in our opinion, quite interesting. Gross earnings were actually down on the year, but about 5%. Profit after tax rallied strongly. They grew about 40% last year. From what we've seen so far, not enough to actually be able to say, you know what, this is positive, I'm a buyer. We would like to see the full accounts before we stick our neck out and go bullish on it.
I mean, for somebody doing their asset allocation in the Nigerian market post-elections, because we do understand that the elections do set into motion a bit of a non-reflection of the situation on the ground, given the company results coming through and where people should be thinking about putting their money?
Well, I think it's more of the same. We see people putting their money in banks. We think they're going to be very strong asset allocation, and we would recommend strong asset allocation to some of the food and beverage companies in Nigeria, and really that's where we see immediate opportunities after the elections.
All right, and then going forward, what are we likely to see just by way of trends in the equities market? Elections, presidential elections coming up, and thereafter we will see the gubernatorial elections.
Well, we don't see much happening in the markets, at least until conclusion of the gubernatorial. The presidential, I think, opinions are starting to form around where those will come. The gubernatorial elections are also expected to be quite competitive and fiercely fought. So in terms of trading in the next 2 weeks, we expect the market to be sideways in relatively light volumes.